Hello everyone, David Blair, the Crosshairs Trader here. Today what I would like to discuss is the idea of the stock in the box. In other words, when it comes to market conditions, when it comes to individual stock conditions, price action, what we usually have is we will usually have stocks that trend and then stocks that enter a consolidation period, and then they will either continue the trend or reverse the trend. Well, the consolidation period I consider a stock that's in a box with clearly defined support and resistance areas. So when we look at our diagram here, let's discuss it. So let's say a stock has been trending higher, or at least the price has been rising. And after a while, a trend gets exhausted and it doesn't necessarily reverse. It may simply go into a period where it's back and forth. There's a lot of indecision within this box. And then a decision is made to either continue that previous trend, or the decision will be made to break the support level that has been established in the consolidation and begin a possible reversal of trend. So basically the stock in the box will develop the reversal, the support, and then it's either broken to the upside or broken to the downside. Now, if we have a stock that has been trending down, same principle. A trend exhaustion will usually take place after some time, and you can watch as the price begins to consolidate. Instead of continuing that trend, again it will consolidate and develop support and resistance areas clearly defined, and then we will either break the support level and continue the previous trend, or in the consolidation we will reverse the downtrend and break through some resistance and begin heading up as we reverse the previous downtrend. So this box is very important when it comes to determining continuation of trends and reversals of trends. And so we're going to take a look at stocks, examples of stocks on both the daily and the weekly chart, because we look at both. The bigger charts, we're going to take a look at examples of stocks in boxes on the daily and weekly charts, and sometimes a combination of both depending upon how long this consolidation has taken place. And we're going to look at stocks that have continued that previous trend in the box and those that have reversed. And then at the end of our presentation, I'm going to bring up several stocks currently that are in boxes, and I'm going to ask you to help me label them and determine what to look for when we look for a break. Because basically where I find the best money is made is when there is a break out of this box in one direction or another. There can usually be a nice strong continuation of trend or even a reversal of trend, as those who are looking for the continuation find that that's not going to happen and must exit their trades. And then of course shorts can also come in and add fuel to the flame as it then reverses. So that's what we look for. The other thing too with a stock in the box, what I like, is when you're able to develop this box and you look for the breakout or the breakdown. What I like is with this box you have a clearly defined level that has been broken. And if this is not going to continue, either as a reversal or as a continuation, you will quickly know that. And therefore you can have your loss line clearly established for you as well. So what I like is the edge can present itself, clearly defined edge to possibly make money, but at the same time this edge also clearly defines where you may be wrong. And I think the best analysis tells you quickly where you're wrong. And therefore, those who are disciplined, the disciplined among us who actually make consistent money in the stock market, are able to exit that trade without question, because they have clearly defined what this pattern is and how it's going to make them money. And the way it's going to make them money is to not break back down into that box. All right. So let's take a look at some examples here from the stock market when we look at our stocks in a box. Now, as we were discussing stocks in the box, now what I look for are several things. First of all, I want to see a clearly defined support and resistance area and a sideways action in the price of the stock. Now, I use TradeStation for my platform and also has all my indicators developed here, and these are provided for Crosshairs traders, obviously. But you can follow along with me without having TradeStation and understand these. But within the consolidation, in TradeStation, I can actually draw support and resistance lines that are labeled. So for instance, here's KMB. Here's a good example. So we've developed a resistance line at around 87.94. This is the daily chart. We'll look at the weekly chart in just a moment. So here's our daily chart. Long consolidation. We call this the stock in the box. Back and forth, clearly defined areas of resistance and clearly defined areas of support. Now, they don't always hit exactly there. I simply look for multiple areas where buyers or sellers have come in. And then I simply look for a break out of that box. And oftentimes we will have our proprietary signals fire and let us know that's happening. And we get alerted to that. So it's already in here for us. And we find where the price action breaks from that box and then has a nice strong move. Now when we look at the weekly chart, and the itches, by the way, on the daily are for daily signals, and then the DCH, which shows up on the daily, also comes from the weekly chart. Simply says that we should look for a daily crosshair or a dual chart crosshair, a stock that's in the crosshair both on the weekly and the daily chart. And you can look at KMB, same thing. Here's your clearly defined resistance area and a clearly defined support area. Nice long box that went from July in this example of 2012 to around February, March of 2013, which provided a great opportunity. And you can see back in end of 2011 into 2012, we had the same thing, a DCH that consolidated instead of going quickly, consolidated a while, and then moved up strong also. But along with these support and resistance areas, I also like to look for, as we discussed at the beginning of our video, continuations. So we can draw trend lines where we had a move up, pullback, continues, consolidation, and then instead of the reversal that we discussed earlier, If you recall, we have this trend, pullback, consolidation, if you will. And then we've entered a long consolidation. And the question is, within this consolidation, will it do what? One of two things. Continue the previous trend, or will it break down and reverse? Well, in this case, it continued. And so I also look to draw trend lines on my charts along with the boxes. So when we go back in this example and look at the daily chart, and oftentimes too, when you've had a long consolidation, you won't have any trend lines to be able to draw on the daily chart. You'll have to look at the weekly chart. But in this case, you can see in this box that we started to have higher lows. See that here? And with that higher low and then a breakout of that box, we had a nice pullback below the box. Break higher, resistance, pulled back, and then broke out. And those are the things that we look for. Let's look at another example. And then I'm going to remove my indicators simply so we can clearly see what's going on in the price action without having the use of my indicators here. How about Adobe? Take a look at Adobe on the daily chart. And again, here is an example of a signal from the weekly chart. And we'll look at the weekly in a moment, where we broke out of a long consolidation, went sideways, fired a couple of issues here. One that just basically did nothing for a long period of time, but held what would have been a great support area, which we discussed a few minutes ago, also with lost lines. But here's your box. Draw your lines here. Nice long consolidation that lasted 3 months. January and 2 months. January and February. And then broke out at the beginning of March. But notice also we can draw a nice trend line. And what did the stock do? It continued the previous trend. Take a look. Up, sideways. Now, within this consolidation, what did we do? We established our support and our resistance lines. Did we have a reversal? Or did we have a continuation? We had our continuation. And that's what we look for. So then when we go to the weekly chart, let's take a look. Here was our signal from the weekly chart after a long consolidation. See the clearly defined support and resistance areas? Here's a trend line. Higher lows were established within our stock in the box. And then it finally broke out and continued that trend. Let's do one more, and then I'll remove some of these things, and we can clearly focus on price action, and then I will share with you a few charts to let you look up the consolidation. All right, how about Celgene? Take a look at Celgene beginning on the weekly chart. Let's draw some lines here. Take a look at your resistance area. See the resistance area here? Clearly defined resistance area. Let's take a look at a support area. Clearly defined support area. So we draw our box. Now notice we broke out of this resistance area, but also that we had a clearly defined higher low within this box right below the breakout level, and then it took off. That's your trend line in your box. Now, when we go back to the daily chart, let's look at our daily chart. You can see where there were instances of several boxes here. Had a nice long consolidation. One itch that did not continue higher. The breakout didn't continue higher, but it did not break below our support line. In fact, it came back and tested it and then took off. Same here. We broke out. We had our clearly defined box, and within that box we broke out again and took off. And you can actually see now Celgene's developing another box. This is what we look for. So these are trend continuations, and you can see that right here. Breakout, pull back, breaks higher, gives you another point in the uptrend line, and then continues. And you can see now that that trend line has been broken, and we've got a longer consolidation. Okay. All right, let me remove my indicators, and then we're going to go through several stocks here as we look at the stocks in the box along trend lines. All right, so continuing on with our understanding of stocks in a box, stocks in boxes, stock in a box, however you'd like to say it, doesn't matter to me. Take a look at Boeing. Boeing had a nice long consolidation. Let's put our resistance lines and support lines on both the weekly and the daily chart. I like to look at both. One confirms the other. Nice long consolidation. Nice trend line established. We break out along that trend line. You can see that here on both the daily and the weekly chart. And then you can see how the trend actually continues after breaking out of that box. We have another consolidation and another break, and now Boeing is consolidating again. So this was a continuation. How about BRCM? Notice nice long consolidation on Broadcom. We have our established resistance and support levels here, and we break out of it on both the daily and the weekly chart after a long consolidation. Had a nice solid move up on Broadcom. Now in this particular instance, there's not much of a trend here, and the reason is because the consolidation was so long. There's really no trend. You simply do have a point where there's a higher low at the bottom of this box, and you can see that here on the weekly as well. CME. This is where the art of the chart comes in. You know, and it's unique for each unique individual trader. You know, where do you draw these lines? Where do you draw trend lines? You know, it's got a lot to do with, you know, the time frame that you use and the price action that you're looking for, how long you're planning on staying in a trade, whether you're a day trader or a swing trader or an investor. I'm more of a swing trader. I'm in trades for days to weeks depending upon the setup. I'm not a day trader. Does that mean I sometimes does that mean I do not take profits on occasion when there's good ones within a day or two? No, I will. If I'm in a trade and I get some good news or something, or it really surges within a day, I'll take some good option profit. I trade options. That's just, you know, that's the art of the chart kind of thing. All right, how about CME? Here CME had a long consolidation. Notice what CME did on the weekly chart. It came back and did what? It came back and actually tested the breakout. So here was our box, clearly defined resistance. We had a little bit of sideways action here. build up the pressure to break out. We broke out. Remember, this is a weekly chart. We did what? We pulled back and tested the breakout and then continued higher and gave us another point for a trend line. All right, so now let's go back to the daily chart, and we can see on the daily chart where we broke out of this box established from the weekly. And let's actually draw our box here. And it came back and did what? Tested and broke out. All right, let's take a look at a couple more. DPS. Same, take a look. Long sideways consolidation. Broke out of it on the daily and the weekly. Look, same example again. Let's move this box over on the daily. We broke out, came back and did what? Tested the breakout on the daily chart along the trend line and continued higher. Now you can look at it as of today and see that DPS has come all the way back to test that breakout line again. It's actually testing the box now on the weekly chart. DTV. Take a look at DTV on the weekly chart. Nice box here. Draw our lines. Broke out and did what? Tested. Some of them test, some of them don't. You take a look at the daily chart. Came back and did what? Tested that breakout and continued higher. Of course, our signals that we have will help us determine test of breakouts also. ZMH. ZMH, I actually had two boxes on the weekly. Take a look. Nice consolidation, broke out, consolidated again, broke out. Take a look at the daily chart along the trend line. Take a look at the daily chart. Look at the long consolidation. Then broke out. Had a false breakout here. Came back. That's okay. Nothing wrong with trades not working. You just learn to get out. And it goes up and does what? Establishes another clearly defined support and resistance level. Breaks out. Now it's pulling back again. All right. Let's take a look at some stocks right now that are in boxes, shall we? Take a look. How about Ross? Take a look at Ross. Let's just talk about some right now, as of today, that are in boxes. On the daily chart, take a look at Ross. So here we go. Notice your trend. Oftentimes that trend is broken, but there's no new trend. Remember, you have your box, trend. Will it continue or will it reverse? That's the question when we have a stock in the box. Is it going to reverse here or will it continue? So we're in the box right now on Ross. How about AFL? Take a look. Weekly chart, trying to trend, trying to hold a breakout. That's the art of the chart. Easy stuff here. And you got a pullback. Are we going to hold this and then go ahead and continue to trend here? Or are we going to continue a longer consolidation and either reverse or continue later on? How about AMJ? Stock in a box. Is it going to reverse or is it going to continue? As of right now, when we look at the weekly chart, we may want to start considering that this is going to reverse. Uptrend line on the weekly has been broken. Notice the trend line on the daily has also been broken, but we do not have a new trend yet. And of course, crosshairs traders know that we have signals that tell us when the trend has reversed. How about DAL? Nice support and resistance lines, again, clearly established for us. Will it continue the previous trend, or is it getting set up to reverse? Let's draw some trend lines here. Draw some support lines. What's it getting ready to do? FINL. Clearly defined support and resistance. What's it getting ready to do? Well, we'll let the box tell us. Either we're going to break down through it, or we're going to break out. How about ORLY? What's ORLY going to do? Is it going to continue its previous trend? Not much of one here. It's mainly just consolidation, break higher, consolidation, break higher. What's it going to do here? How long is it going to go sideways? Will it hold the trend line on the weekly chart? Will it hold the breakout level on the weekly chart? These are things that crosshairs traders discuss. It's not just a signal. It is the art of the chart. It is making decisions on what we see and understand in the charts. All right. How about some that are currently in a box on the weekly? Let's take a look. Let's just take a look at the weekly here. Sideways on the weekly. This is Devon. DVN. Take a look. So we're waiting on it. How about EMN? Nice trend up, but the trend has been broken, but the trend has not reversed. Still sitting here. Broken, sideways, waiting on a resolution here on this box. How about eBay? Waiting on a resolution. Take a look at your trend. How about ADSK? There's really no trend here. This is more just a consolidation. Waiting on something to happen. How about Amazon? More of a trend here. Let's see what's going on. Trying to hold it. Here's your box. Support and resistance. You know, now oftentimes also you will have a box on both the weekly and the daily chart. Okay, so let's take a look. That means a longer consolidation, of course. So here's our daily and our weekly for SYY. So very close to possibly being a reversal of trend here on the daily. You see that? How about SLW? Here's one that's been in a downtrend. See, these work on downtrends too. Been in a downtrend. Is it getting ready to reverse and go back up, or is it just resting to break back down? Again, you draw your support and resistance lines. Both the daily and the weekly charts. Nice little tool here. We can do that on each one of these. Let's go through these rather quickly here. HSY. Look. Hershey Company. Sideways, sideways. Trend has been broken, but a new trend has not been established in either direction. CB. Sideways. Look, uptrend has been broken, but a new trend has not been established as yet. IP. Box. ALL. Stock in a box. What's it going to be? Reversal or continuation. CRUS. Stock in a box, daily and weekly. How about some that are currently breaking one way or the other? And then we'll look at a few to label. AMAT, take a look. What's AMAT doing? Breaking out after a nice consolidation. Now, will it continue? We don't know. It's still on a trend on the weekly chart. Broke out and holding a recent breakout level. CAG. Now, what is CAG doing right now? Look at that daily and weekly chart. What's it doing? It is reversing. Remember what we discussed? Here we go. Trend. Will the trend continue within the box, the previous trend, or will it begin reversing? Well, right now it is reversing on CAG. These can be very profitable trading opportunities. CBG. What's CBG attempting to do? Attempting to do what? Break the bottom of the box. How about BUD? What is BUD doing? It is breaking the bottom of the box. And notice also you'll find an establishment of a new trend. In which direction? The opposite direction. ACC. Look at ACC. What kind of trend are we developing now? A downtrend. Breaking the box. Here it's breaking what? The weekly box. Uptrend has been broken. Downtrend has now been established and also breaking the bottom of the box. McDonald's, this is one that I've actually been reviewing in the morning videos recently as a reversal trade. Broken up trend line, long consolidation, a break of the support line, a lower high within that box, a reversal of trend. PFE, what's PFE doing? Uptrend line has been broken. Support and resistance lines clearly established. What is PFE doing? Breaking that line and also reversing the trend. All right, let's take a look at a few here. I'll give you a few seconds to define where the box is. Let's take a look at Lowe's. LOW. Where's the box? Here we go. Now, whether you want to include the wicks, just the bodies, that's completely up to you. I like to look at several points that it's hit and maybe have some of those outliers here and there. And here's my box. Now, will we continue this trend or will we reverse? How about Disney? What's Disney doing? Resistance. And look at your support points here. What's it doing? Uptrend line has been broken. Draw your trend line. Lower high now. Take a look at your weekly. Weekly's reversing. PKG. What's PKG doing? In a box. Is it not? There you go. How about LUV? What's LUV doing? It's in a box again. Still in an uptrend until right now. We look at this and say we're waiting on it to continue the trend. Unless it breaks down below the box and breaks the trend. WSM, clearly defined box force, could be getting ready to break down. Could be getting ready to hold it. We don't know yet. That's why we draw a box. How about GCI? Clearly defined resistance level up there. Now you could have a bigger box here or a smaller box here. Whatever the case, you can look at the weekly chart also to help you. Look at your weekly chart. Doing what? Clearly defined areas of support and resistance. And then one more, NI. Tell me about this one. Take a look at NI on the daily chart. Look at what's happened here. Draw your trend lines. Now we've got a lower high and a box established. Now we look for what? A breakdown of that box. Because it's a reversal of trend. Alright? Very simple things when it comes to trading, and I believe we make it complicated with our overthinking. Price does one of two things. It either goes up or it goes down. Sometimes it will go up and down within a consolidation period. The stock in the bond. Sometimes it will have the pressure to continue higher for multiple days and weeks, or lower for multiple days and weeks in a trend. We look for these areas to take advantage of and trade and make money. And with these areas clearly defined, it also clearly defines for us loss lines. Profit targets are another matter and another video. But if you're interested in crosshairs trading and knowing more about our signals and knowing more about how we make money, and knowing more about our technical analysis and our understanding of the steps to the trade, not just the signal, but the steps to the trade, which includes the artist in all of us, contact me. Love to have you as part of the Crosshairs Trading family. And of course, Crosshairs traders get more detailed research when it comes to making trading decisions. Contact me at david@crosshairstrader.com or visit my website, The Crosshairs Trader. Love to see you, have you, and answer any questions you may have. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.